So just landed and trying to meet the mechanic now at the plane, but basically I was up at 10,000 feet, about 20 nautical miles from the airport that I would eventually land at, probably about 10 miles off the coast, and the oil pressure light started to flicker, and basically determined the closest airport I could find, which was KLIA 2, which was the domestic terminal, the low-cost terminal for Air Asia. So I turned in, and the air traffic controller tried to vector me about 60 degrees to the left, and I refused that request because it would take me further away from the closest airport. So I continued, and then they were trying to vector me still further away from the airport so they could line me up at the runway. I said, no, I'm going to go direct. So eventually they gave me that. I guess they don't allow small aircraft into that airport, but I didn't really have a choice. And I had 10,000 feet, and the typical distance you can coast in my plane is about 1.5 nautical miles for every 1,000 feet. So that would put me 15 miles towards the airport, and I needed 19.6. And I had throttled back the engine as soon as the oil light came on because it was reading 0 pressure. So my plane has a system, ferry system, that allows me to pump oil into the engine from inside the pressurized cabin. And I had 3 quarts of oil in the plane, so I immediately, after I had set the glide rate at about 90 knots, which is the optimum glide rate, I put the 3 quarts of oil in, and I have an electric pump that does it very quickly. So then all of a sudden I got about 4 psi, which is still below the recommended amount, but I was able to nurse it back a little bit. So I was able to extend my range for that extra 5 nautical miles that I needed. And a little stressful moment. You know, there wasn't a whole lot I could do once I realized I had lost oil pressure. You can change the pitch of the prop so it doesn't create as much drag. But aside from maintaining that 90 knots, I just went direct and eventually saw the airport and landed. Not a lot of extra distance to spare, so very stressful day. Now the mechanics are headed out to the plane. They had just changed the oil in the plane before I left and also cleaned the spark plug, so I have no idea what the issue is with the plane. I'm hoping, because I didn't run it with the engine out for very long, that it didn't do any damage. I can't imagine I have much time running the engine without the oil, but anyway, it's been a stressful day. I'm alive, and we'll see what happens here shortly.